Hi, my name is Patricia, and this is Buzz and Bark Animals. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to subscribe because my mission here is to help humans bond more deeply with animals. And in the future, in my little community section of this channel, I'm going to start posting videos or links to videos of people who are bonding with animals, because I think by giving actual examples, I think it helps us open our hearts better. And there's a lot of like real bonding going on the planet, and there's some very heart-touching stories. So when I find those, or I find some other sites that I think will be useful for you, I'm going to start putting those in the community tab. And also you can, if you know of some, you can mention those as well. Or if you are one of those people, you can mention that as well. So let's create a community here so that together we can bond more deeply with the Earth's creatures. And I'm going to use this clearing spray. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some Fibonacci tuning forks. Not all of them, but I'm going to do some of the more ones that are geared toward peace. And I'm going to do some planetary forks that are toward peace as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to be in alignment with the Walk for Peace monks tomorrow on Saturday, May 9th. They're going to be doing a global meditation with 24,000 candles. The event is in Fort Worth, Texas, but they're going to be doing it online as well. And I just want to do some pre-energy to send out to connect with other light workers and healers and peacemakers around the world, and to help prepare the animals on the planet for what's coming up. Because when millions or thousands of people get together and they're all focusing on the same intention, which would be to spread world peace, it's going to resonate throughout the planet. And so animals, if they know ahead of time that this is coming, and they probably already know it, but to add some more to it. And the Fibonacci is our natural setting. So you know when you get a machine like a computer or anything and you reset it, so you go back to the original, I remember with computers, I would take everything off the computer, reset it, and put everything back on. So basically, the Fibonacci reset us to our natural calibration. It is the golden rule, it's not the golden rule, the golden ratio. So if you look at a seashell or the spirals in, say, a fern, you know, when it's before it unfurls, and all these different things in nature, you will see the Fibonacci sequence. And so there's 8 forks here, and I think you can actually go up to 12. I don't have the other 4 forks. And then the planetary forks, they're all set to, like, this is Uranus, and Uranus is 207.36 hertz. And I don't know who came up with that, but it seems to work. I used these when I was doing astrology, but I also use them with Reiki because each of the forks is connected to different chakras in the body, and they can unblock different energy fields. And they're also connected to, I feel, colors and different music, like there's the music of the spheres. And so by combining all of this, we're preparing our brains to bring in more peace. And then some of these Fibonacci forks, I think it's like the last 3. One is to get you in touch with your higher self, your higher consciousness. One of them is to get you in touch with like nature spirits, like divas and things like that, and angels. And then there's the one which is the, depending on what your spiritual beliefs are. I do believe in God. I mean, I do learn about Buddhism and things, but I still believe there's a God. And I know with Buddhism there isn't a God, but I don't know, you kind of have to make it work, because I was raised that there is a God, and so that is what I believe. And also learn a lot from like indigenous cultures and, you know, Native Americans teachings and things like that, and they do have a creator as well. So this fork 3421 hertz is, I mean, the ratio between 34 and 21 hertz, this is the one that connects you to the highest of all consciousness, we should say. And I'm going to be using I think I'm going to be using Neptune, Earth, and Venus. And I might also bring in the sun and the moon. So I can find Venus. We'll just see how it goes. And I was going to do some Reiki, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that, although I did call in the Reiki masters, and I am calling in the attunement of Reiki, which I'm using. I mean, I've been attuned for Reiki for, I don't know, like 6 years now. So this is for peace. This is an apatite, blue apatite stone. I'm bringing that in for peaceful mind. And I'm bringing in the amethyst because the amethyst helps us get in touch, again, with that higher consciousness. And I feel like we need to plug into that higher consciousness, because here's something that I came up with this morning. Well, it came to me when I was waking up, was that, and it's a message that's been coming through a lot of my videos, if we want to bond more deeply with animals and we want to heal animals, then we have to heal ourselves, right? It starts with us and our frequencies. So it's not enough just to take your dogs for walks and do all the things that you do out of love. I mean, those things are very helpful and they will help you bond. But if you want to go on the deepest level of bonding, if you want to have like this incredibly beautiful experience with another creature, then they want us to be on a healing path. They want us to, like, we're not going to become 100% healed, but they want us to make that effort, whether it's getting myofascia work, whether it's getting massage, whether it's getting acupuncture, Reiki, whatever we can do in the form of self-care. And so my definition of self-care is not shopping till you drop. You know, it's not adding more material things to your life. My definition of self-care is eating healthy, staying hydrated, and treating your body as the temple that it is. Because I believe that our souls are in this body, and this body is a temple of the soul, and to desecrate the body is actually rude to the soul. Because we're borrowing these bodies so that we can be on the earth and have this earthly experience, although you can be in a spirit form and be on the earth as well. Or you could be angelic, or you could be like any of these other things. But to be in a physical body and to experience the senses of the physical body, then the soul has to enter these temples, right? But if you look around, humans don't treat themselves very well, you know, or they confuse what self-care is because of what the advertisers tell them. Well, the advertisers are just using self-care, quote unquote self-care, to sell something. So they get buzzwords out of the spiritual community, they get it out of all these different communities because they're marketing to a certain group to sell a product, and so they want to speak your language and be on your wavelength. So they will use things, they will co-opt words, they will co-opt practices and use it in a very greenwashing kind of fake way so that they can get you to buy their products and their services or whatever it is that they're selling. So self-care is taking care of yourself. And that does mean, you know, eating healthy. So if they're saying that eating kale is self-care, yeah, that is self-care, right? But make sure it's organic or permaculture or something like that. So, but that's a totally other subject. So the other thing I want to mention is if we want to bond with animals, we need to learn their body language. So and I see this, and I'm not going to say who the example is because I don't want to, like, you know, upset anybody. But when a dog, so you're reaching for a dog and you're going to pet them on the head and they turn their head like this, or you see white in the corner of their eyes, or their tail's stiff or their body is stiff, you are distressing that animal, because those are signs they're not comfortable, or they're yawning, licking their lips, stretching, like overstretching. So there's certain things, and I'm just talking about the dog. There's other behaviors for cats, and cats will just whack you, right? If you're petting a cat and the cat doesn't want to be pet, they're just going to scratch you or maybe even bite you. Dogs are more polite, and not all dogs, because some dogs can be more aggressive, but the dogs that are trained, right? The ones that are like really obedient and really trained, and I have nothing against training, but sometimes dogs can be overtrained, and they will put themselves in uncomfortable situations for them, and they think that we as humans get the cue. Like, oh, they're turning their head away, I think I'll move back, right? That's what they want us to do, but we don't realize that. So we can become, especially little kids, but I've even seen adults do this, become very grabby, like reaching for their nose or petting them on the head. And how would you like a hand going over like this into your face and over on top of your head where you can't even see the hand, right? So it's better to pet a dog underneath, like on their neck or their shoulders. Or I guess some people say like they like to be scratched behind the ears. They love that. They love that. They feel safe. And some dogs don't mind being pet on the head, but if they're flinching or moving away or turning their head, or you're seeing the white of their eyes or their body's tensing, those are signs that you're causing distress. And if you cause enough distress, their cortisol levels are going to rise. It's going to cause inflammation in their body. Of course, I'm not a medical expert, but this is all common sense. It's going to cause their cortisol levels to rise because of fight or flight. They're going to get inflammation in their body, and inflammation is the basis of a lot of disease. So if you want animals to be healthy and you want to have a good relationship with them, then go and watch those dog behavior, cat behavior, whatever animal behavior videos. There's so many of those on YouTube, and they'll tell you what these animals like, what they prefer, and what they don't prefer. And again, dogs can be very polite. And if they're well trained, they're going to put up with a lot more. But then eventually their health is going to start breaking down, or they're going to start getting like these weird nervous habits, that like behavioral issues and things like that. And so you don't want that. So even if you're approaching someone else's dog, not your dog, just be aware that if you see those sorts of behaviors in a dog, whether it's yours or someone else's, and the dog is giving you those signals, and they want you to back off away from them. You would not want to be in public and everybody touching you. Could you imagine like people grabbing your wrist, people petting you on the back, petting you on the head? They're no different than we are. In fact, they're more sensitive than we are. So their nerves are more sensitive. At least that's the feeling that I get when I do animal communication. I feel like they're just, I'm a kind of a nervous person. Like I'm very hypersensitive, and I don't like people touching me, especially people I don't know. And I've had people like in public, like touch me on the back or whatever, and I just close up like this because I don't like it. If I know people, I don't mind, right? Depending on who they are and what's in their energy field. But yeah, so that's just my little tip. If you're meeting a new dog, don't look them in the eye. That's kind of the general thing, because you don't know that dog. And when we look a dog in the eye, we're challenging them. So a well-trained dog is probably going to be okay with that, but a dog that's more of a guard dog or more of a protector, especially, some of the German Shepherds, the Chows, the Akitas, a lot of these dogs, they have been bred, through time to be more like guard dogs, or more of like they protect their person or their family. So if you're to do eye contact with them, you could end up causing them to be defensive, and you don't want to do that. So it's best to kind of approach them, let them sniff you, is what a lot of dog trainers, I don't know, I think it's Victoria Stillwell and some of the dog trainers, they'll say, well, let them sniff you, and then put your hand, instead of like reaching out to pet them, put your hands where they can sniff your hands and approve of you, kind of thing. Like they need to know who you are. And dogs are really good at figuring that out by just sniffing. And if you're going to be around animals, don't wear scented products, because it's hard for them. They're sensitive to a lot of those smells. I mean, again, hypersensitive, like humans would be the equivalent of what an animal is in their sensitivity. So yeah, don't wear, like, you know, freshly laundered clothing and Tide or whatever detergent it is, and just treat them as if they were, you know, like you wouldn't use a bunch of poison around an infant, like a human infant. So animals are sensitive. And so those are just some tips. I also did a video recently here, and I talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to get into this, this Fibonacci tuning forks and the planetary forks. And I think what I'm going to start out with is I want to bring some yin and yang balance. So I'm going to do the sun and the moon forks. And so let's get started. I've already cleared the space. Okay, so take some deep breaths. And you can take deep breaths while you're hearing the tones. It really helps to calibrate this. Now, if your animals want to leave the space, let them leave the space. These tones might be very quiet to you, but they can hear it louder than us, and they can still receive these if they're in some other part of your house, or even if they're outside. They can still receive this if they choose to. Now, if you don't want this, you can always cross your arms or legs, but I don't know why you wouldn't want it. Tuning forks are very focused frequencies. And again, we're going to be working with the sun and the moon. We're going to start with them, and then I'm going to go into the, I think I'm going to use 4 of the Fibonacci's. I want to use the one for the nervous system, and then I'm going to use the angels and divas, the higher self, and the Godhead, or whatever you want to call it. And then I think I'm going to end with the Venus and the Earth forks. So let me get started and turn off this bird machine. I usually use this to block out outside noises. Okay, so I'm bringing in some light, and the other thing is drink some purified water after this and give water to your pets. Purified is better. So here we go. The moon is the feminine and the sun is the masculine. We're balancing the right and left sides. Oh, I guess I'm doing 5 Fibonacci's because I want to bring in, you always have to bring in the 1-1. That's extra. This one is, again, for the nervous system. I think it's supposed to help with the vagus nerve. This is not a medical claim. This is the one for the higher self, your higher calling, your higher voice. The one that tells you to do nice things. This one's the divas and the angels. I forgot to mention this might put you in an altered state, so you might want to rest like after this session, especially this particular tuning fork and the final one that I'm going to do of the Fibonacci. So you might want to just meditate, you know, for a few minutes afterward. And then make sure you ground yourself by pushing the soles of your feet or your legs or whatever is on whatever surface you're on. Just press it down so that you can ground yourself. And drink a glass of water, which is very grounding. I use these before going to sleep at night when I do use them. And I have to say I end up sleeping really well. Maybe too well, because I don't wake up the next morning, you know. But I'm also putting it right next to my ear, and that's not what I'm doing right now. Okay, this is the God one. These are really good if you do any kind of spiritual channeling as well, because it just opens up the channel. But make sure you're calling in some kind of spiritual protection so that not everything kind of comes in. That's why I always call on the angels before I work with the tuning forks. I'm going to bring in some Neptune as well. I'm also picturing I think it's the flower of life. It might be the seed of life, but anyways, I'm bringing that in and I'm anchoring it into the earth to go with these Fibonacci's. Okay, and now I'm going to do Venus and then I'm going to end with the earth. These might be too close together. I don't know, these should work. It's a little discordant, but it's actually good sometimes. So remember to press the soles of your feet into the ground. This is for grounding. So when I use a tuning fork and a gemstone or a crystal at the same time, each stone has its own frequency, or maybe even set of frequencies. And they have, might not be so obvious, but they all have different healing abilities, different healing properties. So by combining a particular fork and a particular stone, it's done intentionally. It's like, okay, so we're using this for grounding, but this is also for peace. So, and this also helps us to speak with peace and to speak mindfully, because this particular stone is for both the third eye, where we have our psychic gifts, and also our throat, which is a communication center. And I also think that this one is really good for the lungs. And so I am actually going to end with, I made up a little melody for today's going to be my peaceful day, because I do that every day, and today I like to chant. And so I made up a little melody, and you can steal it if you want, because it came from spirit, it didn't come from me. And it's basically, see if I can remember it. Today's going to be my peaceful day, today's going to be, boy, that's not it. I can't remember it. I knew it this morning. Say, today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Every day's going to be my peaceful day. So, if I can remember, because I was singing this all morning and now I can't remember it, but it was like, let me see, today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Every day's going to be my peaceful day. And you can do it kind of rap-like, or you can do it blues-like, or you can do like however, but basically it's just, today's going to be my peaceful day, and then you raise it up. Today's going to be my peaceful day, and then you lower it again. Today's going to be my peaceful day, and then you end with every day is going to be my peaceful day. And you can do that. I wish I could remember it. Like, I can sing like really well, like when I'm meditating, and then when I'm like I get on video, I get really nervous and I forget everything. But basically it's just, today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Today's going to be my peaceful day. Every day is going to be my peaceful day. And then you can just kind of put rhythms to it, or you can do it however you want. But you can do it when you're walking. You could do it like when you're meditating. I kind of like to do it in my head when I'm walking, because then if somebody tries to cut me off the road, or I can't cross the street or something, I don't get angry, because I'm saying it over and over again. Today's going to be my peaceful day. And then I like to add, every day is going to be my peaceful day, even though we're being in the moment when we're saying today's going to be my peaceful day and we're planning for the day. But I like to just say that every day is going to be my peaceful day, because then it just kind of blankets it in. And then if I forget to do it the next day or something, then at least every day is going to be my peaceful day. And then I'm going to end with a yoik. And a yoik is a chant that comes from the Sami people of the Nordic countries and Russia. or part of Russia. I think it's the Kola Peninsula. And it's to do an exchange of energy. And so there's some birds out there, and so I'm just going to yoik to the birds. And it's basically a blending of the energy of them and me. It's like a, you know how they have like cultural exchanges, like you're in high school or college and you become an exchange student and you go to another university or school. It's kind of like that, but with nature. It's blending the best of like both cultures. It's not like criticizing culture or judging culture, it's or judging the birds or criticizing the birds. It's actually taking their highest qualities and my highest qualities and improvising a chant. So here it goes. So that's a little one. I mean, you can do that all day if you learn how to do it. I'm not calling it a Sami yoik because I'm not Sami. You know, I'm an American, but it's the concept of it, which I'm borrowing from them. I think it's a beautiful tradition. You can find a lot of Sami people actually doing yoiks. There's lots of recordings. Some of them are a cappella. Some of them are like to rock music or jazz or, you know, different kinds of music to make it more modern. Or you could even hear the a cappella ones by like reindeer herders and different things. But it's the basis of it is it's really respecting and honoring the natural world. Now, some of the yoiks are for other people. Some of them are for situations or places like their home or, you know, their country or whatever. And so, you know, it could be when they're with the reindeer, they yoik to the reindeer. If they're fishing, they might yoik to the fish or whatever's out in the ocean or wherever they're fishing. And so it's, and I'm not even sure if they do it for fishing. I know they do it for reindeer. I'm not sure if it's for fishing as well, because I actually never heard that. I don't know where that came from. But they definitely yoik to the reindeer. And again, it's an exchange of love. It's an exchange of respect. It's an exchange of like honoring whoever you're yoiking, and they're yoiking back to you, and it comes in a sort of telepathy, a sort of energetic form. So that's just a little bit of extra that I'm adding to this video. Now you can always skip over this part if you don't want to listen to this and just listen to the tuning forks. I don't timestamp, but if you could, you know, if you're listening to this and you go, okay, I want to go back and listen to the forks, you can just look at the time where it starts and the time where it ends, and then just, you know, click off the video after the tuning forks. So hopefully you like this. If you want more tuning forks, let me know. If there's any particular topic you want me to cover, let me know. Like if you want me to do tuning forks for compassion, or tuning forks for maybe comfort or calming fear, or, you know, different things like that, just let me know in the comments, and then I will consider that in the future. Otherwise, I just come up with this stuff and I don't even know if it's what you want or not. So hopefully it is what you want. And remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And have a wonderful week with you and your pet bonding. And if you don't have any pets, then go bond with Mother Nature. And bye for now.